The market maker can protect from extreme moves in a couple of ways. One is to actually hedge the gamma. We know that the market maker is short gamma, and if the market maker goes into the marketplace and acquires gamma by buying certain options, going long certain options in the market maker can also hedge gamma. Sometimes this is done by out-of-the-money puts and calls. Puts and calls have positive gamma. Out-of-the-money puts and calls are relatively inexpensive, and this is a relatively inexpensive way of buying some gamma. The market maker can also use static option replication, basically using the put-call parity to get delta and gamma neutral portfolio. So here's an example of where the market maker is had the 3-month call and is buying a 4-month 45 strike put in order to eliminate some gamma. So if we look at the 40 call and the 45 strike, remember that the market maker is short the 40 strike and is now long 1.24 of the 45 strikes. Where does the 1.24 come from? It comes from a relationship in the gammas. There's more gamma in the 40 strike than the 45 strike. So if we're going to hedge with gamma, we need a multiple of the 45 strike, and that multiple is the 1.24. Now notice that when we do that hedge, because this 45 strike call also brings some delta with it, that we introduce a negative delta. So usually what a market maker will do is hedge out the gamma. That'll introduce a delta effect, and then hedge out the delta by buying some shares. And here in this example, the manager would be buying 17 shares. So here's the P&L. The original P&L we saw was the delta hedge, and then here's delta and gamma. And so what we see is that the range whereby the market maker has very small profits and losses is much wider than it was in the case of the delta hedge only. So market making, you can think of it as in insurance. Insurance companies, the market maker has an insurance risk, if you will, that he has to cover. And insurance companies have two ways of dealing with risk. One is by holding capital, and the other is by diversifying, either by buying reinsurance or some other means. Market makers have basically the same options. They can reinsure by trading in out-of-the-money options, trying to buy cheap gamma. They cannot just hold capital to absorb and cushion the losses that they take. So it's always the same. One has risk. You can hold capital against that risk, or you can hedge that risks. And of course, when risks are not fully diversifiable, you always have to hold capital, and that's the case for market makers. They always have a capital allocation for their net positions.